It's election time, and we here at Cable 10 want to ensure that you are informed of all the ways that you can vote. I'm Cathy Lindsey, and I'm here with Franklin County Clerk Jeff Hancock to talk about all the things you need to know coming up this election season. Welcome, Jeff. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you, Cathy. We always appreciate being here. We also would like to say we appreciate what you do for the community, being the fact that you all do the Meet the Candidates. You really let people know who they are. You let the community have the ability to know what's going on and be informed with the entire election process all the way down to election night. So thank you all.
Well, we appreciate that, and it's something that we enjoy doing, and we know that the community really appreciates it because we get a lot of feedback about how much people really enjoy the series and then watching us live from your office on election night. So it's a big time of year for your office, and as it has been here at Cable 10 as well. Election season. We have a pretty full ballot this year, this general election.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the second largest ballot that I've had in my 10 years of being down at the clerk's office. It is always our highest turnout percentage-wise is the general election for the presidential.
Right. Well, it is a big presidential election year. That always draws out voters. And I think the first thing we need to do, because it is such a big ballot, let's take a look at the ballot. We are voting for a president this year, president and vice president. But then we also have, we're going to be voting for the U.S. congressional representative in the 1st District, State House representative in the 56th District, and the 57th District. And this all depends on where you are, where you live in the county as to what will be on your ballot. So what we have and what we're going to be showing you is the composite ballot that has everything on it. We've got several unopposed races that will appear on the ballot. You just go ahead and vote for who you want to vote for, or maybe you want to write somebody in. So we have a special election for the magistrate of the 4th District on the fiscal court, a justice of the Supreme Court in the 5th District. We have several Board of Education candidates that you can take a look at. And here in the city, people will be voting for mayor and city commission. So that's a lot of candidates. And that's why I know we had a big time doing Meet the Candidates. And we really want people to know who's on the ballot and who they're voting for.
Absolutely. You know, an informed voter is probably the most powerful person, in their own right. And we hope to be able to get this out, with your all's help and what we can do through social media and the State Journal. It really helps to get it out in front of people. When you have a complicated ballot that has constitutional amendments on it, and you have a ballot that's got the presidential, on a lot of these races, you'll walk in with your mind set on who you're going to vote for on your up ticket races.
Yeah.
It's the down ticket races that you really need to make sure you're educating yourself on, making sure you understand the constitutional amendments.
Sure.
Making sure you understand what a yes and a no vote means.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that real quick. This year, we do have 2 constitutional amendments on the ballot. The first one, Constitutional Amendment 1, is voting eligibility clarification. And this amendment seeks to clarify voting rights in Kentucky by explicitly stating that only U.S. citizens can vote in the state. The amendment updates Section 145 and 155 of the Kentucky Constitution to make it clear that non-citizens, regardless of residency, cannot vote in any election in the state. So a yes vote means that you support updating the Constitution to explicitly prohibit non-U.S. citizens from voting in any Kentucky election. A no vote means that you oppose the amendment because you think the Constitution should remain as it is without the added clarification. That's the first constitutional amendment.
Yes, ma'am.
And the second constitutional amendment is about educational funding for non-public schools. This amendment would allow the Kentucky General Assembly to provide financial support for students attending private or non-public schools. It essentially creates a pathway for school choice by enabling financial assistance to cover education costs for K through 12 students outside of the public school system. So a yes vote on this one means that you support changing the Constitution to allow the state to financially assist families who choose private schools for their children's education. Your no vote means you oppose the amendment, and the state will not be allowed to provide financial support for private or non-public school education. So be sure to check out what those amendments say, and decide how you want to vote before you go in to vote. And I did notice on the ballot, and I'll ask you, Jeff, I think it was in the primary where the constitutional amendments, like on the back, it wasn't all on the same
That was
page.
actually the last presidential election.
Okay.
And no ballots are created equally.
Okay.
Some of the constitutional amendments for our smaller ballots, ones that are outside the city, for county voters that don't have as much on the front side of their ballot, will be on the front side. Some of them will be on the back side.
Okay.
So there are going to be some flip ballots.
Okay.
But we will, as our poll workers will be educated, we will make sure that all voters understand, please look at the front and the back of the ballot. Make sure you voted it completely.
Okay, so that's really important. When you go to vote, check out your whole ballot to make sure that you've answered everything on there. All right, so voting has already started, Jeff.
It has.
So why don't you tell us, I think absentee voting has been underway, and do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, the mail-in absentee process was first built back in the World War II era. It was meant for a military and overseas voter. So this is not something that is brand new. This has expanded. Obviously, everybody remembers the year of COVID when we had, 16,250 mail-in ballots.
I think we all mail-in voted that year.
And that was the change that made us realize that elections can be seen differently.
Yeah.
It's a very secure system. It was adopted through the state of Kentucky. It was built by the state of Kentucky through the State Board of Elections. It's a system that is driver's license verified and or voter card verified.
Right.
So we're seeing the signatures going out.
Yep.
We're seeing the signatures come back in.
Yep.
This is really built for our elderly, our ill, anyone that is in their fourth trimester of pregnancy. Anyone that is a college student,
Yep.
anyone that is overseas in military, anyone that will be out of town the entire time through the election process.
Yep. Well, again, COVID taught us a few things, and that was one of the great things that came out of COVID, because it gave people more accessibility to voting, and that's what we're all about, right?
Absolutely, and the election laws we were using and the precinct setup were written 120 years ago.
Yeah.
We were written where you had to be within a 1-hour horse ride from the precinct central. No longer do we ride horses into the precinct.
I mean, you could, I guess, but no.
Yeah, and it allowed us to have 12 locations that are located all the way through Franklin County equally.
Right.
It also gives us 2 rural locations. But what's really nice about that is you can vote any ballot at any location. Our technology has caught up with elections, and it's really allowed us for the voter to go anywhere. If you live on the east side of town, but you work on the west side of town, if you live, over in Two Creeks or Bonaire, and you work at the hospital, you can vote at numerous places. You're going to pass by Western Hills, by the Senior Center. There's just a lot of opportunity out there.
Okay.
And that's what we wanted to make sure we provided.
Okay. So if folks are interested in doing the absentee voting, what do they need to do?
The mail-in absentee voting? The mail-in absentee voting is very easy. You go to there's 2 options. You can go to govoteky.gov. That's govoteky.gov. Or you can call directly to our office. We hire Karen Pearl the entire time through the election process. I don't know how many people out there know Karen, but she is a delight to talk to.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to call in every now and then and just talk to her just because she's so pleasant to talk to.
Well, good. We all need that.
Yeah, and that's 502-875-8704.
Okay. All right. And what is the deadline for that?
That's October the 22nd.
Okay.
Now, if you're asking for a mail-in absentee ballot, just for time frame base, I would prefer for people to start doing it sooner than later.
Right.
It's a
because you're on a deadline. You have to have it in by. Yeah.
Everything's a deadline. Everything's a processing. We've got 6 hired temporary help for this election process. This is our largest selection process that we'll do. We expect to see around 73 to 74% of all of Franklin County voters.
Okay. Well, then we have early voting.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about when that starts,
Okay.
What dates those are, and those locations.
Okay. Early voting is another one of those really nice things that came out of the COVID pandemic. We have the opportunity now to have no excuse open early voting for 3 days. The first day is October the 31st, which is Halloween.
Oh, fun.
We have changed our times a little bit on Halloween. We had traditionally gone 8 to 6.
Yeah.
We're going to go 8 to 4.
Okay.
And there's a reason behind that. We have one of our locations for early voting is the Capital City Christian Church, which holds a lot of our population area around it.
Yeah.
It is also one of the largest trunk or treat areas.
So they're going to be busy all day.
Yeah, Franklin County, but in central Kentucky.
Right.
So we felt like we would get out of their way as early as possible and allow them. The other locations are downtown at I still call it the old Plant Board building, but I really have to give credit to what it is. Yes Arts has done a wonderful job, and they have some wonderful art in there.
Yes.
So the old Plant Board or the Yes Arts building. And then our third location is out at the Senior Center.
Yes.
The Senior Center has been a great addition.
I bet.
We're right in the middle of most of the aging community out there. They're able to bus folks over and get them in and out, and where you can vote in any precinct. It really creates that confusion to go away.
Right.
Are you in the right location?
Right.
Did I have to drive these people around?
Right.
You know.
And you're not limited to, you have to go vote at this place.
Right.
That's great.
So that's October the 31st, 8 to 4. November the 1st from 8 to 6.
Okay.
And November the 2nd from 8 to 4.
Okay.
So we've added 2 hours in on the Saturday
Okay.
to pick back up the 2 hours
2
we're
that you'll-
losing on
right.
Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's early voting. And then the big day, Election Day, which is when I like to vote, is on November 5th, Tuesday, November 5th.
Yes.
So there are lots of locations for
There
that
are.
day.
There's 12 locations.
12 locations. We'll have those on the screen.
Yeah.
But they're, not only centrally located, but we have some rural locations as well.
We do. We still keep a rural location out in Ball Knob at the Ball Knob Fire Station, and we keep a location out at the Schweitzer Fire Station. They're great locations for our rural residents. It keeps them from coming all the way into town. Believe it or not, we've got quite a few of our rural residents that still don't come to town as often as you would think they do.
If you're letting them vote out there, they don't need to, right?
Right, absolutely. But we will have something we've done for the first time ever. We will have handicap assistance at all 12 locations.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, we're going to have a wheelchair at all 12 locations. I've also employed 22 high school seniors.
Okay.
I'll have 2 high school seniors at all the large locations and 1 high school senior at the smaller locations. They're out there to do one thing and one thing only, assist voters get in and out.
That's awesome.
And then also to hand out sample ballots. So if there's a line and you can stop and take a look at the sample ballot,
right,
it'll give you a second chance to educate yourself.
Okay. Well, all of that sounds great. If people want to go ahead and look at a sample ballot or look at where their options for voting are, where can they find that information?
They can find every bit of that on our website. All the locations, you can register to vote off my website. You can register for an absentee ballot off my website. All the dates, the times, all the information for anything you need to know about elections is on our website.
Okay. And we have a QR code for that too.
We
put that up so that people can just grab that QR code. It'll take you right to where you need to be. So again, it's a big year. Do you have any predictions for what the turnout's going to be for this general election?
We've already seen several days of absentee mail-in ballots. My prediction on those were between 1,100 and 1,300. We're already over 4 days into it. We're over 500.
Okay.
So I'm predicting a very large turnout.
Okay.
72 to 73%.
Ooh, really?
Yeah. And I do feel like with all of our down ticket races,
yeah,
I think we'll lead the state of Kentucky in voter turnout.
Okay.
Again. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're trying to do our part to make that happen, right? Yeah. So we appreciate you coming out, Jeff. Is there anything else people need to know?
We have a goal this year to have lines no less than 25 minutes.
Okay.
On Election Day, but part of that's going to be the educated voter. We put more voting booths up, we put more opportunities up, but the ballot's going to take you between 3 and 4 minutes to vote if you're educated on it. The ballot's going to take you 8 to 10 minutes to vote if you're reading everything on the ballot for the first time.
Okay.
So I highly, highly recommend, let's be educated voters out there. Let's understand what we're looking at.
Okay.
Let's make sure the constitutional amendments make sense to us.
Yeah.
And we have our idea of what we're going to do when we go in the voting booth.
Okay. Well, that is great advice for anybody coming out to vote. We would ask that you do. That's why we do things like this here at Cable 10, to inform our viewers, because voting is very important, not only here in our community, but worldwide, actually. So we appreciate you watching today. Get all the information you need, not only about the ballot, who's on the ballot, but where you can go vote, what time you need to be there. That's why we've had Jeff here, so we appreciate you watching. Be sure to go vote during either absentee, early voting, or on Election Day on November 5th. And then after that, be sure to tune in to Cable 10. And we'll have live election returns from Jeff's office. He's going to host us there, as always. We appreciate that. So we'll see you on election night.